Every day, millions of people in California enjoy an ice-cold beverage at the park. But what happens to these containers when you're finished? Let's go on a journey and see how an empty PET container can be turned back into a new PET bottle. We're in Sebastopol at a recycling center. There are over 1,200 recycling centers similar to this throughout the state of California. This is where you can bring your PET containers and other CRV recyclables to be redeemed. This is where the journey of recycling begins. We're at a neighborhood recycling center where people bring their California Redemption Value, or CRV containers, to redeem their deposit. This is one of the places where PET bottles begin their recycling journey. Of course, PET bottles can also be recycled through curbside recycling programs. Here at the recycling center, the containers are separated by material type and either shipped to an operation that will bale them, or the loose bottles are baled on site. The bales of PET are then shipped out to a reclaimer, which is the next stop on our recycling journey. We're visiting Indorama Ventures in Fontana, California to see the PET bottles processed into flake and pellets. This site is one of 4 reclaimer operations in California. The first thing that happens is the bales containing recycled PET bottles are broken apart. The loose material is transported on conveyors and then optically sorted to separate clear PET from colored PET, and any trash and unwanted material is removed. The PET bottles are then ground into flake, and the flake is washed to remove any dirt, caps, labels, or contaminants. At this stage, the material can be used to produce clamshell packaging and other plastic containers. To become a new PET bottle, the flake is processed further. The flake goes through a process called solid-state polymerization. This means the flake is placed into a large silo and heated to a high temperature. The flake is then exposed to a vacuum or to an inert gas under high pressure. The solid-state polymerization process increases the molecular weight, strengthens the carbon chain, and improves the clarity and purity of the PET, resulting in bottle-grade plastic resin. After undergoing the solid-state polymerization process, the flake is then heated and extruded into long, uniform strands and cut into pellets. These PET pellets are now a raw material ready to be processed into a new bottle. And this solid-state polymerization process can happen to recycled PET plastic over and over again.
Indorama is very proud of its high quality pellet production lines. Here you see the final product in a super stack ready to be shipped out to our consumers.
Excellent. David, thank you for your time. I had a great time on this tour. Now I'm going to go see this turned into a new plastic bottle. Our next stop is Amcor Rigid Plastics in Fairfield, California. Here we will see how new bottles are made using pellets made from recycled PET. The pellets become new bottles using a molding process. The pellets are heated to a high temperature, and the molten PET is then injected into tubular molds. The injected material is then cooled, removed from the molds, and packaged. These molded creations are called preforms, which are used to make bottles. To make a new bottle, the preforms are heated and inserted into a bottle-shaped mold. Hot air is then blown into the preform and a new bottle is created. Think of a warm balloon being blown into a shaped mold. Using preforms of varying size and molds of varying shape, many different bottles and containers can be produced. The new PET bottles are then analyzed and inspected to make sure there are no impurities. When the bottles have passed inspection, they are packaged, stacked, and shipped to a bottler. The next step of the recycling journey is bottling. This is where new recycled content PET bottles get filled, whether it be with water, soda, tea, etc. And then the bottle gets a label. Finally, the full bottles are packaged and sent out to the marketplace. So we've completed our California recycling journey. We started out with the question of what happens to an empty PET bottle? And the answer is, in California, it can be turned into a new PET bottle. PRCC helped make that happen. For more information on PET recycling, visit prcc.biz. And always remember to recycle your PET.